second question of the this particular presentation. Then if you can just see my screen now again. So the first question was very difficult to answer again, but by answering the second one, you will get to know a lot of answer for the first one. So again, I request you to spend 2 minutes. Okay, what is not scaling agility? Okay, so I just want some of you to answer at least over there on the panel, and let's spend 2 minutes from here and just wait for some answers. What people think is not scaling agility. So I want you to type some answers. What people have written here is like, and I believe this was the answer for the first question, that scaling agility is taking the basic practices to a larger level of the teams, okay? Extending the boundaries of agile development, hyper collaboration. Some of the answers are more iterations, okay? And now the question is back on all of you is, what is not scaling agility, okay? Maybe think about it for a minute, and then maybe you can type over there in the panel for questions and answers. Just I'm waiting for your answers. So one answer I got so far is scaling agile is a proven framework that can be applying for lean, scrum, agile practices at enterprise scale. Not a typical iteration, not a typical scrum iteration, and then I got a couple of more answers it seems. So I'm just waiting another minute so that I can get the perspective of the audience that what they mean by not scaling agility. And then we'll move on. Scaling agility, deciding as late as possible and delivering as fast as possible, and vice versa for not scaling it. This is another answer, okay? Growing agile teams inorganically is not scaling agility, okay? That's a very nice perspective. Then another one is it is not a big agile project, okay? That's another perspective. So moving on, actually when you'll answer these two questions, you will get to know a lot about what it means by scaling agility, okay? And I have gone through my own learning. I just learned one thing, okay? It's all about changing the implication. The way you see agile today is what is it? Is it Scrum, and you want to implement the Scrum at an enterprise level, and then you want to call it scaling agile? Or do you have multiple teams practicing within one organization, those are enjoying agile values and principle, and you want to scale it up? So everyone got their own way of thinking about scaling agile, but the most important aspect is it's all about changing the implication. The values and the principles remain same, okay? It's all about doing the right things, doing the things right at the same time. And when I say this, I'm very clear about it's actually it's been actually misconceptualized by many practitioners that it's actually applying or just doing the practices, like Scrum, for example, is a set of some practices. So Agile is made of many practices, but it is not only those practices. It's more than just the sum of those practices. When we say we are doing daily Scrum, we are doing retrospective, we are doing sprint planning and many other activities, it's not going to make it agile, and it's not going to make it scale either, okay? So what it is going to help us to make it scale. Agility means the 4 values in the Agile Manifesto and 12 principles in the Agile Manifesto, okay? So if you want to scale up, you need to understand those in detail. And when I have been through all the models like SAFe, and when I have learned Agility Path, what I realized is they are all nothing but the structured way to implement Agile at the enterprise level. However, the key question is not answered. Like when we say enterprise, is that gonna cater the need of HR department or finance department and all other departments? So none of the model answers this question when we compare the SAFe, for example. And when we go into the Agility Path, which is by scrum.org, another large scale Agile implementation framework, it doesn't answer the question like how to implement it to multiple teams and many other things. It's actually a process improvement framework. So a lot of questions and answers are not there for how to scale it up. And then I've been into much deeper details, and then I realized what is the most important aspect, what are the principle if we have to scale agility. And what is agility? We need to understand that first, okay? So when I say this, I'm pretty clear about what it means by scaling agility. The first principle what I realize is, which is the most important one, is that we need to have technical excellence in place. None of the project can be scaled, or none of the agile implementation can be scaled without having technical excellence and detail to the technical excellence. Okay, when I say this, what I mean by this particular principle is, this is the principle number 1, and when I say this, I mean by that is that there has to be a proper build server, there has to be a proper build mechanism in place, there has to be deployment in place, there has to be unit testing, code coverage, zero defect policy and such things in place. When we say we are producing proper software which is technically excellent, which can compete in the market and can beat any other competitor, then only you can actually scale it up. Until, just giving you an example here, if you have two teams working on the same code repository and they are struggling throughout, and no matters whether they are doing Scrum, Kanban or any other safe framework, whatever, but if they don't have a proper technical repository where they are checking in and checking out regularly, which is making them more and more agile every day so that they can collaborate properly. Okay, so that is what I mean by technical excellence. This is the key principle here. The second principle which I want to highlight is system thinking. When we see a system, and until we don't see the system, actually that's how it has to be thought of, that if you're just thinking about testing or development or a particular phase of the software development and you're trying to optimize it, it's not going to help you to scale it up. So giving you an example here, if you are having testing getting delayed every time by 5 hours or 6 hours or something like that, and then you see that, okay, what we can do, so let's improvise the testing, let's do automation, and then you started doing automation. What happened? You actually eliminated the waste in the system by automating it, and you improvised, and your efficiency is now come down to 1 hour, for the same testing which you were doing in early days by many other hours, okay, 6 or 10 hours, okay, per day for the same unit. Now what you are doing, actually, you're just trying to improvise the testing. But if you just go back into deeper detail and then you realize that, from the development side also there are delays, there are wastage, and there are not handoffs, those are causing this whole problem, and you're not realizing that it is going to cost you more when you want to scale it up. Okay, when you're gonna improvise a particular testing phase only, or maybe any other phase, then you're actually doing a little mistake. You need to think about the whole system. You need to optimize the whole, from where the concept is coming and from where the money is coming back to us. So concept to cash has to be very clear. You need to do a clear-cut value stream mapping, and then only you can scale up. And when you have more and more team boarding, whether your perspective is to take it to multiple teams or being a small team practicing agile, and you want to scale up the agility, which means you want to improvise the deliverable part of the agile. Let's say you want to improvise in the terms of a return on investment, or maybe you want quicker releases and all those stuff, then also you need to think about the whole system rather than just looking at one piece of the phase or the system. So the next principle which I want to highlight here is synchronization, and this is I actually have picked, and I have seen, and I have gone through all the models of software agile at a scale level, like SAFe is one model, and then we have Scaling Agile Framework by Craig Larman. So all these people talk about one very key aspect of Agile, which is synchronization, which is another format of collaboration. Okay, so that's why the practices like one product backlog, one product owner, one big team comes in the picture. If you have a behavior of synchronization within the team, you can scale up. Until you have a team which is well synchronized, they can't deal when it comes to scale, and they are going to be creating functional silos or maybe the different feature silos, and then they can't integrate together and they can't scale it up. So that is the principle number 3. And when I talk about the next principle, it's all about adaptive planning, which is nothing but the core principle of Agile. And as you see here on the screen, what I have talked about is it's actually the same thing which we talk about in Scrum. Let's do adaptive planning. Let's talk about the iron triangle to be transposed to a different dimension, and let's keep the quality constant rather than the feature or the requirement constant, and let's play with the the requirement which is getting delivered, and let's be adaptive in terms of the planning. So you need to do very frequent and short releases. You need to do a lot of reviews. You need to do frequent reviews. You need to do frequent retrospectives. That's what is the those are the practices of when you say you want to scale up. Okay, and I'm giving you one example here from one of the very well-known, web browser, Firefox. They actually are very adaptive in terms of their planning. They release very frequently. That's the example you need to take back to your, organization and say that what is the example of adaptive planning. Okay. So what is the next principle? The next principle is frequent MMF, and this is nothing new, and it's actually is the core of lean and agile philosophies. When we say frequent MMF, what we mean by that is minimum marketable features has to be released frequently. You need to do vertical slicing for that to scale it up, and you need to do value-driven and business-driven plannings. You need to understand what exactly it means to the business when you are delivering one feature, and you need to scale based on that. Okay, what I mean by here is, if your perspective of scaling agile is that 1,000 of the people are working together, but what value proposition they are releasing early, as well as how they are addressing the business need, being the 1,000 people at the other side, that is the most important aspect when it comes to the scaling. Okay, because after 1,000 they are not gonna increase their count maybe, but what they have to think about is how they can improvise the value proposition in terms of the agile. Okay, that's the important part. So you need to fail early and you need to fix early as well. That's how you do adaptive planning as well as frequent MMF. You're gonna create one vertical slice. You're going to integrate it. Maybe it will fail because of the other team, and other teams will get to know that you have integrated this. That's why the thing is failing, and eventually you're going to roll back the code, and then you actually work together more collaboratively, and you actually scale it up. Okay, the other principle. Okay. The next principle which I want to talk about is, and this R is the part of my research as well as the book which I'm trying to publish, and I have written in detail on that, so you can get the detail on the LeanPub about the book. So the principle number next is the fifth principle. So learning across. Okay, and when I say that, I have myself seen large organizations when they are moving for agile transformation, especially. The biggest challenge they face is the one team which is doing something, the other team is not at all aware about. So they need to re-research about what their learning is. One team is very good in terms of, for example, in CI, CD, and many other things, etc. And then the other team is actually learning from scratch again. So for that matter, you need to understand what is the important principle here is learning across. Until you make a learning organization which is having feature teams, which is having wiki, Confluence, and community of practice in place, you're not going to spread the word internally either externally, and you're not going to get the best resultants. Okay, so this is another principle. So going back to the going next to the next principle is, so the next principle is self-organizing. Okay, and this is nothing new. This is the same principle which I realized, and I actually have understood it from the Flow framework, which is by Don Renstein, and then I have understood this from SAFe framework as well. And if you have an experience with, say, Scrum teams, you will get to know that the same is there in the Scrum framework as well. What it talks about is the feature teams. Okay, so the team has to self-organize to scale it up. If you will put more and more people to manage them, and when you are scaling up, then it's not gonna give you the better resultant. Even if your perspective is that the multiple teams are practicing agile, or they're doing agile, or they're being agile, or whatever. Okay, this is another principle. The next principle is collaboration. As I said initially also, that in the previous slide as well, that the community of practice makes the learning organization possible, and it is one of the principles. Similarly, the collaboration within the team is also equally important. For the purpose, you need to do a lot of social skill development, networking, meetings, joint meetings, in fact. So if you have a large program where 10 teams are working, until they're planning together, you are not going to get to know each other, what is happening in the other team. When it comes to the integration, it's going to fail. Okay, and it's going to cost you more to re-look into the details, and then you're going to do a lot of handovers and etc., which makes it impossible to scale it up. Okay. Similarly, very key concept which is quite popular so far is called Scrum of Scrum, which makes more sense when it talks when there are multiple teams are working. Similarly, you can actually do a retrospective of retrospective as well, which has also been advised by many framework like SAFe, for that matter, Scaling Agile Framework, Agility Path, and many other frameworks. So you can actually continue those thoughts, and that is also the key principle here. The principle here is actually collaboration, and these are the below one, which are in the orange, are the practices which you can do, which are based on those principles. So the next principle which I want to talk about is, and that is transparency. Okay, so an example could be, if you have info boards in place, you're going to scale it up. And when you have large programs working together, you don't have time to do the detailing of the reports. You don't have the time to understand what exactly is not essential and what is essential, both. So you need to update it very frequently, and you need to do automation as well to provide the proper reporting for that stuff. And when I say automation, I mean with test automation as well. Okay, so these are the practices that you can go through. Sorry. So the core, the last principle is actually, when you talk about scaling, is you need to understand the core of scaling, which is actually agile, which is based on the multiple disciplines, multiple practices and things. So you need to understand what is the core which can drive us to scale. The first thing I would advise is you need to understand the the lean philosophy. Okay, what it means, how to eliminate the waste from the system, how to be more business savvy, and all those stuffs makes it to scale. The next is actually flow. When we talk about flow, it's nothing but how the pulse is applied, and this is actually product development flow in full. How Scrum works, what is the core of agile scaling, and also you need to think about what is PDIA, which means nothing but the inspect and adapt cycles. Okay, plan, do, inspect, and adapt. You need to understand all these details, which makes it to scale. So the principle here, which I want to highlight, is the core is the principle, which is nothing. The practices based on the core are business savviness, flow, the cadence which you need to think about. It makes us very clear about what exactly is coming next to us. Okay, so as I said earlier as well, agile is made up of many practices, but it is more than just the sum of practices. And today, agility means the 4 value in the Agile Manifesto and 12 principles. That's it. That's what is agile today, and that's what is the agility means today. And when you have to scale, you need to practice this. You need to come back to the core values and the core principles again and again, understand all those again, and think about what it means to scale all these. Giving you an example here, how you are responding to the change. As you see here on the board, if you are already aware, it is good. But if you're not, I just will brief you what is in the screen at the moment. Is